Okay, in this video I'm going to explain a little bit about the machine. And here we got the thread rack, we got the tension knobs, these little tubes where the thread pass to the other tension knobs. We got the thread brake sensor. This is our thread brake sensor. When the machine is running, this wheel is spinning. When you got a thread brake, that wheel will stop, and that is what how the machine detects that you got a thread brake. So basically this wheel must be spinning all the time when it's stitching. Here, this is what we call the take-up levers. These are the take-up levers. This what we call the middle tension spring. The correct position, it's the way it is right now. You can see it. This is not okay. Okay, this is too much tension to the thread, or also it's not okay because that it's reducing a lot of attention. So the best way to keep your springs are like right there. That's the very good position. Here or here, it's a good position for the thread. Okay, this is our spring, where when you thread the machine, you just put your thread here in this spring. This is what we call the press foot. This little here, it's what we call the press foot, the needle. Okay, this is the motor who moves the sewing head, and here you can move it manually if you need to move it manually. Here's where you can move it manually. Basically here, it's what tells you what needle you are in, and if you're not in a needle, and if it's not aligned, basically it will say 0, and that will give you an error on the screen. Basically it's the color change half rotation of normal. You clear this, you move this little wheel here until you got a number there, and that error will disappear. Basically it's a protection not to move the machine and the needle not be in the hole of the needle plate. Okay, this is basically the main shaft. This is where you move the whole machine. You see, all the machines must stop at 100 degrees all the time. At least this one has to be stopped at 100 degree. If it's not a 100 degree, you will see there a line cross it to that little gear with the 100 number. In order to fix this, you have this little icon here that says 100. So basically what it does, when you press that, it will reset the main shaft and it will go to 100, and it will stop on 100. Okay, also you can check that here in this dial. You can see the degrees of the machine. So right now it must be there in 100. I don't know if I can show you that, but there we go. You see it's a 100 degree. So basically, in order for the machine to be able to move the head or everything, you have to stop the machine has to stop at 100 degree. So if it's not a 100 degree, it will give you an error. Main shaft not stop in position. So basically, in order to fix this, you have to clear this. You need to verify that you're not 100 degree here or here in the dial. You press the 100 degree and it will go to 100 and you're ready to go. Basically that's how it works, the icon, the 100 degree icon. You got your emergency button. You press that and the switch will turn off. It will turn off the entire machine. In order to be able to turn it back on, you have to release the button in order so you can be able to turn the switch back on. This what we call the tubular arms here. This is what we call the tubular arms. The needle plate. Turn off the. This is the needle plate. The cover for a rotary hook. This is here. It's our picker. This basically activates when it trims, and it determines the length of the tail that it leaves every time it trims. I'm going to move the sewing head to needle 15. These two motors, this one is the jump stitch. Basically every time you stop your machine and your needle is down, It activates your jump stitch, and this is what it does basically. It makes the needle goes up. It releases the reciprocator on the back, you know, for the needle, so the needle go up. This here, it's the picker motor. This basically what's picking the thread when it trims and put it inside this little Velcro. So this motor, that's what it does. This motor works with a picker, and this is basically our jump stitch. Here's our light. You can turn it on, turn it back off. This is what we call our pantograph. This is our pantograph, okay? Here, there's a cover. We got here all the color change mechanism. When you remove these two screws and remove this cover, we have the color change mechanism over there. So here in our control panel, I will move my sewing head to needle number 1, so I have room here to show. We got main shaft not at stop position, so that means it's not 100. So I move the main shaft. I'm going to press the 100 icon, and now I'm going to be able to move my sewing head. Okay, there it goes. It's moving. Perfect. Here we got some icons, basically status icons. This little rabbit that changed rabbit to turtle or turtle to rabbit, basically it's to move the pantograph. You move it faster, you got a rabbit there. You want to move it slower, press this button here in the center, and it will change from rabbit to turtle. You're going to be able to move the pantograph whatever position you want by moving this icons here, this arrows here. Okay. This here, you can move the sewing head needle by needle, plus or minus depending on which way you want to go. This icon here, you can move from windows. If you have a window like right here open, you can switch from the main screen to the window that you have open. Basically that's what it does. Once you close the window, it will do nothing. Okay, this is our trace button. If you want to trace and make sure that your design fit in the hoop that you're using, you press here. And I always recommend to use the outline check. The outline is more accurate. Border is just a big square. The outline, it will go through the outline of the design, very accurate, and it will tell you where the press foot is going to be stitching inside the hoop, so you can make sure that the design fits inside the hoop. Basically that's a real good feature on the machine, that you can trace your design before you start your project. Well, this is our status, turtle and rabbit. The next icon, it's the 100 degree. If it's not a 100 degree, you have a line crossed there. And when you got a thread break, I will show here a thread break in one of these icons. This here, it's telling you that you are not in a network, so it's not connected to a network. Basically you have those two screens with an X saying that you're not connected to a network. Here's your design. It's very important that every time you have your design here, you see this little cross in the center of the design. That's telling you that your design is centered. If this cross it's someplace else in the screen, that means that your design, it's not centered from the software. So even if you center your design, if you trace it up and everything, it means that it's not going to start at the center of the hoop. So that it's you can crash the needle with the hoop if this little cross it's not centered. If your design is not centered, this is here what you can verify if your design is centered or not. Okay, your needle, it's saying what needle you're in, needle number 1. So we have needle number 1 right here. We got our color sequence. We got here the stitch count. This is how many stitches this design have. 20,000, and this is how many stitches the machine has done. Okay, this is the coordinates for the pantograph. You can reset this anytime, so you can reset the coordinates. You can center your pantograph and then reset, so you have zeros there, and that's your center, for example. This is your speed. You can increase speed or you can decrease speed, whatever you like. Here's the speed setup, and when it's running, it will show you at what speed the machine is running. This icon, you can select different type of frames. It must be on the embroidery mode. It must be off in order for you to check frames. You select here frame, select frame, whatever frame you have, A, B, C, depending on the frame. You've got a image on the USB that shows what frame is what letter, and you can select whatever frame. The pantograph will automatically center accordingly with that frame, and it will establish some limits in order for protection of the machine. So in this case, we don't have any frames selected, so you will see an X right there. Okay, we have the embroidery mode on and off. So every time you load a new design, you have to turn off the embroidery mode. Like right now, you see that line cross to the icon. That means that your embroidery mode is off. So you can change parameters, you can change logo, whatever parameters or logo, you can be able to change it when it's off. Once this is on, parameters, you cannot be able to change parameters. You cannot be able to change logo when it's on. So you have to turn it off every time you want to change a logo. Here it's an icon that we have three functions here. This is regular stitching. This is to move the design forward without stitching. If I press the start button, it will move forward. The pantograph will move where it was left, and but you can move the design forward or backward depending on your needs. If you press again, you have one arrow. It will move the pantograph slowly, but it will not stitch. But the design is moving forward. There's a lot of people, sometimes they need to move the design backwards or forward depending on their needs. You have that function right there. If you want to go backwards, you press the stop button, and that's it. So I will press the icon until I have the up and down arrow. That's not regular stitching. So basically, your embroidery mode on, up and down arrow. Your moving forward icon, it has to be up and down for regular stitching. Then we have the automatically color change here in semi-automatic and completely manual. So basically there, when you program your color sequence, the machine will go and will move whatever color sequence you might be programmed on the machine. If you want to do it semi-automatic, for example, if you want to do appliques or other type of projects and you want the machine to be stopped in the next color, you press once and you will stay, the A will stay there, but the up and down arrow will disappear. That means you're on semi-automatically color change. And what happens is that when you're stitching, the machine that's running, when you have a color change, it will trim. The sewing head will move to the next color that it's being programmed, and it will wait for you to hit start to continue. So the machine will stop, basically. That's the semi-automatic. And if you want to do completely manual, you just press that manual, and you have to, every time the machine detects a color change, the machine will stop and will wait for you to move the sewing head to whatever color you might want to stitch. Okay, so in regular stitching, you want to leave these three icons with the up and down arrow for regular stitching. The three flower icon is to recall designs from memory. So in here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 designs. I can select whatever design that I want in order for me to start stitching, but my embroidery mode it's on. It's not going to let me switch through the design. So the first thing that I will need to do is to cancel my progress right here. You can cancel the progress of the design. So I cancel, the pantograph will move to the starting point, and then I will turn my embroidery mode off. And then I'm going to select the tree flower icon, and then I can select whatever design I want to change. Let's see, the Redline logo or whatever, this fire or soccer ball, whatever I want. I will confirm here the needle and the flower. This message is very important. Some people, they got confused. Some people think that it's to confirm it. It's not. Basically, it's asking you if you want to move the pantograph to the starting position that it was used before. And if it's not set it up, it can move the pantograph and it could crash it with the machine. So if the starting point it's not set it up, you say no. And basically, I turn on my embroidery mode, and you can see that I already changed my logo. If I want to go back for the other logo, just turn off my embroidery mode, go to the memory, select other logo, the tiger. Okay, it's asking me to move the pantograph to the starting point. I will say no, and then I will start. I'm sorry, I will turn on my embroidery mode, and there's my tiger logo with a cross at the center. Okay, this icon here. Oh, if you want to recall from the USB, just go turn off the 3 flower, and then you can hit this disc, and then here, and it will read whatever you got here at the USB, whatever you want to put. Let's select that, for example, and then you want to put this design from the USB to memory. So you press here the little book or album, I don't know, icon, and then it will tell you that it's going to put it on number 4. You say yes, memory number 4, and then exit, and then there's your other design that I just put it into memory. Then I select whatever design you want to stitch, and then you hit the flower, and then that design will be ready to stitch. Okay. Here's the color sequence. All designs have a color sequence. So here's where you set up your color sequence, whatever color sequence you might have. Once you're done, you press OK, and it's done. Here, this 2 gear icon, basically you have a lot of parameters. When you have your embroidery mode off, you can change the direction. You can change the logo upside down. 1, 2. There's the logo upside down. You say OK, exit, turn your embroidery mode on, and you will see that your tiger, it's upside down. If you want to put it normal, you turn your embroidery mode off, go to gears, direction, and then you move from this down arrow, 1, 2. You have your P there, OK, and that's your logo. It's normal now. There we go. Okay, so basically when you turn this off, you have some parameters here for design. We got a lot of parameters for the machine. You don't want to mess with those parameters. Those parameters are for the values for the machine to work properly. So don't mess with those parameters unless you contact us if you're having any trouble. Okay, so exit. The 100 icon, if it's not a 100, we discussed that. You just press the icon, and the machine will do a reset, a complete round of the main shaft, and it will stop at 100 degree. No line cross there, so it shows that the machine now it's stopped at 100 degree. This icon, basically you can move the stitching, the sewing head to any position that you want. The needle 1 to 15. If you want to move it to 15, just press 15 there, and it will move. To go back, press the needles, 3 needle, and go to needle number 1. Whatever needle you might want to go, that's the button you want to press. We got these 2 icons here, these 2 buttons here. It goes needle by needle. That's it, that's all it does. The home button is basically to cancel the progress of a design. If you start stitching and then you decide to cancel the progress of the design, I'm going to do a sample here. Here's my tiger. I'm not going to stitch because I don't have anything to stitch there, so I'm going to move the design forward. So now we got the design. Let's simulate that we are in the progress of the design, and I want to cancel it. I just want to go back and cancel it, taking the garment off and whatever I want to do. So I just press this home icon. I confirm it. It says go to starting point. You say yes. The pantograph will move to the starting point, and it will clear whatever stitches you have done. You can see here that you got 0 stitches now. Okay, that's basically this button. The end icon, it's a handy feature that this machine has for people who wants to do applique or want to fix something on the design. Let's see if you're in the progress of a design right now. Let's simulate like we are in the progress of the design. And then we want to move the pantograph towards you to fix whatever you want to fix. So you can fix whatever you have here to fix or to put the applique. And then in order to move the pantograph where it was left, you just press the end icon. and then OK. The pantograph will move where it was left, and you can continue your stitching with no problems, with not losing any registration basically. So that's the end icon. The scissors basically is just a trim. Just a trim. If you want to cancel your design, you just do a trim and then you cancel your design, like right here. Okay, I cancel my design and I can pull out my fabric or whatever I'm stitching. This here, it's the, we got more functions there, like to set up the clock or machine test or languages if you want to change the language, to set up some frame origin, some functions that you will not be required to move here unless you have some problem with the machine. You can call us and we can walk you through. Okay, exit. And that's basically it. That's very generally how the machine works. I'm going to do a little sample real quick so you can see how we can set up a sample. Okay, I will check my bobbin. You see how my bobbin, it got a little tail there. My bobbin is on the pigtail, and then we got a little tail. So I will put my bobbin inside my rotary hook. This is a little picker. This basically helps us when it trims to establish the link of the thread. Got to leave here a tail every time it trims, so when it came back, the thread will not go out from the needle. Basically, this is my hoop. Okay, you can see that I have my stabilizer with the fabric in the hoop. Got it wrong. Trying to do with one. Oops. Help me out. There we go. Trying to do it with one hand, so because I'm holding the camera with the other. So okay, there it goes. What I'm going to do is I can move the sewing head to needle number 1 so I cannot get confused with so many needles there. So now that I'm sure that I'm needle not 1, my eyes will focus on needle number 1. So you can see that I'm not in the center. So what I can do is like with the arrow keys, I will move to my center position. There you go, there's my center. So what I will do is I'm going to do a trace. Basically, I need to make sure that this design fits inside this hoop. That's why we have this sticker here. Always trace the design. Basically, it's to make sure that this design will fit inside, and this is the proper frame that we're using for that design. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press this icon, this button here, and I always recommend to do the outline check. Outline, it's more accurate, so I will do outline. I will go through the outline of the design. The border check is just a big square. I don't like that, but it's also can be helpful, but I prefer outline, so I will recommend to use outline. Outline check, and then I can confirm, and you can see here my trace. I need to know where my logo, I need to know if my logo fits inside my hoop, that my press foot is not going to crash with the hoop. If that happens, it will break the reciprocator, and that's a little major repair, so we can have to fix that in order to make the machine work again. Okay, so now it's ready. I will hit start. Okay, I'm not in embroidery. I made a mistake here. I just stopped there. Okay, I'm going to cancel. There you go. I will go to the starting point, and then I'm changing here to have my 3 icons, or my icon with the up and down arrow. It's very important to these 3 icons. For regular normal stitching, you have the up and down arrow. Okay, so there it goes. Hit start. You can see this little wheel spinning. You see your green light, that means that your machine is running. If I stop that wheel, immediately the machine will stop and give you a red light. And here it will show you that you got a thread break. Basically, it was not a thread break. I just stopped the wheel just to show you how the thread break sensor works. So basically, these are our thread break sensors. Okay, I'll press start. If you want to recover some stitches, you just press the stop button and it will go backwards a little bit. You recover some stitches, and then I press the start button and I will start stitching again. I want to explain you very fast the position of the tubular arms. We got 2 holes, and then we have another 2 holes next to this 2 holes. Basically here you move this tubular arms to right here in order for you to use the big frame. All the round hoops in a little square 30 by 30, you just put this tubular arms to the next holes to this one. So basically, there you go, it shows this hole right here. We use that for the big frame. We need 3 screws to tighten them up, so basically we use this one, and this one for the big frame. That's why that hole it's right there. But for regular round hoops, you will use these 2 holes, the second 2 holes from the pantograph. And also those same holes are used for the cap driver. Okay,